this for people who can't be with us. All right. Hi, everybody. Today we have a quick agenda per usual, announcements, notes, and our assignment. It's week 11. We made it. Yay. Which is great. So we have just PC3 and 4. They're both about investing this week, and about like the stock market and other things that you can make investments in. So pretty cool. Our modules do close on Friday for this class, but they are already starting, including, I heard VAPA was closing today. And then there was maybe like a little bit of an extension, but like if you're just trying to make it happen, VAPA is closing today. So no more school ever. Well, yeah, no more school ever for 2 weeks, Amy. And then, then we can make it happen. So we have English closing on Wednesday. History, physics, and Spanish are all closing on Thursday. So that's a big day. And then Friday closing on for math, right? If you are star, you know who you are. You have a 24-hour extension. So just FYI. But these are our regular deadlines. Just a reminder, team no C's. We don't want any C's. So let's make it happen. A's and B's only. Cool. So I did want to chat really quickly about last week's PT. Just this one question was like most missed, like 41% of people got it wrong. So I wanted to be like, oops, let's hold up. Budgets are created for 1 month at a time, right? 1 month, not a year. You can look at it over the entire year, but generally budgets are done in one month. So just ask me. And then finally, I think this slide is actually out of order. If you are seeing your name here, NBD, no big deal. But it does mean that you have something in Canvas that you need to submit or resubmit. I only listed your name once for these earlier assignments, so you might have multiple, but I just listed your name on like the earliest one. If you submitted yours, thanks so much. I really appreciate that, Nick. If you submitted yours, this is as of last night. So any work that you've done today is not reflected on this box. So really appreciate you for getting those things in late last night or earlier today. Appreciate you. And thanks for letting me know as well. Cool. Any questions about end of the quarter? Anything happening? I am gonna throw this back up here just in case you need to be reminded. Module closure means your teachers are not accepting anything after this date. So after midnight on this date, it is donezo. You will not be able to turn anything else in. So please make sure you're not running against that deadline. Cool. Okay, friends. Let us jump on into our notes. As we jump in, I will go ahead and send out, let me send one more time the attendance. And then I'm also going to send out the assignment here. I saw many of you have already grabbed that assignment. Shout out to you, people that I can see on Hapara. Appreciate you for those of you who have already opened that assignment. Today, we're going to take some notes. I'm just going to like set the scene for you and then toss it over to Stephanie. We're going to take some notes in this section. On the second slide that we take notes on, there's going to be a table, and it's multicolored table. You're going to fill it in right here, right? So I will not expect to see the table in the notes. I would expect to see the table on this question here. So I'll explain what that looks like when we get there. And then you just have 2 questions, going to start investing and something you learned. And then you have your quiz. That's it. Part 3 is just putting a question that you have a question on, whatever your next question is. I've been answering them as well as I can. Some of them I haven't answered all of them, but if I have an answer, I have been trying to answer them in the comments. So you can check that out. Probably got sent to your email. Cool. All right, one more time. I'll go ahead and pop this in here. Antoine, if you can keep an eye on the number of participants in case someone pops in. If you could send the attendance, but for now we are good, I think. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and reset our investing. Let me go ahead and hit it back here. A reminder per usual that you do have access to the slides. So if you need to see the slides, you are welcome to check them out. And now I'm gonna toss it to Stephanie so she can talk to us about an introduction to investing. Take it away, Steph.
Hi guys. So first things first, happy last week of school. And I mean, you guys are like so much closer to senior year than you guys think. No, not finally. It's stressful. Anyway, so today we're gonna be talking about investing and we're gonna be touching on a few of your options. Okay, it's not that bad. Um, okay, so yeah, we're gonna be touching on investing today. And so we're gonna do oh, okay. So based off of the pre-quiz that we sent out about 2 weeks ago, once again we pulled some questions. So by the end of the lesson, we're gonna know when you can start investing, the options that you have when investing, what crop commodity is, and if you're required to invest at some point in your life, and just simply like what investing is overall. Okay, so in our investing 101. So for starters, what is investing? So investing is buying something that you can make more money so that you can make more money over time. So with investing, your goal is to always end with more money than you started with. And it is definitely a process, a journey that you're going to go through. This isn't something that's going to make you rich overnight. So you can't just invest into like Apple and then be like, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna have like $1,000 more than I did today. It really doesn't work like that. Um, there's risk, there's different factors to it. So know that it's gonna take time, and you can start investing once you are 18.
I know that you probably heard that number and you're like, wait, some of my friends are already investing. That's weird. Um, yes, you can invest when you're a little bit younger than 18. What you have is called a custodial account. And basically, what that means is that your parent's name is technically on the account. Your parents are in charge of the account. But when you turn 18, the account moves into your name. Okay, so that does so like I know Devin was talking about having one earlier today. He has his dad like has an account, but it's a custodial account for him. So when he turns 18, it will become his. So you can start investing earlier. You just have to have like more of your like parents are a little bit more hands-on for that. Cool. All right, Steph, tell us how we can have our money make money for us.
Okay, so we're gonna touch on saving stocks and just other stuff when investing. And I'm gonna stop after every single color, so feel free to put questions or interrupt me if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything you need to say. Um, so the first little subtopic we have is saving, and going back to the credit cards and all that. The first option that you have is a savings account, which is basically your savings account with the bank, and there is no risk here. You're simply putting your money into your account, and it has a very low interest. The second one that we have is a CD, which is your certificate of deposit, and you place your money here for a specific amount of time, and it can be 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, and you just let it build over time. And if you, for whatever reason, decide to take that money out before the time span that you placed, you will be charged a fee for that. And with the CD, there is a low risk. And the third one that we have are government bonds, which is where you lend money to the government and they'll pay you the interest semi annually. And once again, it is a low risk, just like your CD.
For sure. So this section is like your lowest risk, right? So you have your savings account and your CD. Those actually are both from the bank, right? So I have a CD that's actually in the same account as my bank. So what you're essentially saying when you put a CD, so when you, let's say this is $100, with $100, you put it in the bank account. At the end of a couple of years, you might have like $100, maybe $101. You don't make interest very fast when it's in the bank, right? If you take this $100 and you put it in a CD, you earn a little bit more interest, but your money has to stay there, right? So you have a fee if you take it out too early. The savings account, you can put it in and out anytime you want, right? With government bonds, you take your $100, you give it to the government, and every 6 months, semi-annually, right, half a year, every half year, they pay you interest. And at the end of that time, your $100 comes back to you, right? So at the end of the like government time, sometimes it's like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that money comes back to you, right? So this is kind of like the saving section, because it's very low risk. Like, you're not going to lose your money, but you're not going to get it back. Antoine, talk to us.
So basically, you have to, whenever you put your money in, it has to be for a long period of time. So basically, something should happen to you and die. The money would just like die. It wouldn't go like roll over to a family member or something like that.
No, usually when someone dies, like their money and their assets is split up based on their will. So if you, for example, my grandfather had a good number of government bonds when he passed away, and that money was basically paid back to his account, and then his account was separated based on how he wrote his will. So your money doesn't really like get lost or anything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, good question. Love it. All right. Cool. Do we have any other questions about savings and like these three accounts, the teal ones? Government bonds were really popular in the early 1900s, and then later in the 1900s too, but like generally older people have them because basically the government needed money, so they asked their citizens for money, and then they paid them back over time, kind of thing. Basically, you're giving a loan to the government. So, interesting, very interesting. Cool. Stephanie, tell us about stocks. I feel like this is the part that everybody wants to know about.
Okay, so we're going to touch on two different subheadings. And the first one is your index or mutual fund, which is your retirement plan. And it's when you're buying a group of stocks that all balance each other out. So when you think of retirement plan, basically like after you stop working, this is where you want to have good money. So your 401k, your 403b, and your Roth IRA. And it does have, compared to your savings, it does have a little bit of a higher risk, and it's considered a medium risk. And then the second one, which is what a lot of people tend to talk about, is your individual stocks. And the plan here is to buy it when it's at a low price and sell it for a higher price. So all the stocks are going to have individual prices, like set prices, and the lower you buy it, the better. And it's really like a judgment call here when when you think that your stock is at its highest price possible, then that is when you can essentially sell it. But if you think that it can go higher than the prices that you've seen, then you're really taking a chance here, and you're just waiting it out to see if it can get higher. So you're trying to put in less money and come out with hopefully twice as much, three times as much money than you bought it for. So this is a very high risk. You know, the stock market is constantly fluctuating. So There'll be good days, there'll be bad days, and you're really just like playing your cards here.
For sure. Is this a good time, stuff for me to talk about like Snapchat and like how the stock market works in real life? So like my experiences.
Wait, I'm sorry, Miss, can you repeat that?
Yeah, is this a good time for me to ask about like the stock market and, or I'm sorry, to tell like my story about using Snapchat?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So team, for stocks, right? What happens is a company is split into these little baby pieces, right? Little baby pieces all over the place. And everybody buys a little bit of piece, right? Some people buy a lot of pieces, some buy like one piece. So basically what happens is each of these pieces costs a certain amount of money. And based on how the stock market is and how that company is doing, the price can go up or down. So about 1 year ago, I bought two stocks of I used Robinhood to buy two stocks of Snapchat. And when I bought them, they were worth about $11, right? Each of them was worth about $11. So I paid 22 bucks, right? I paid $22 for 2 shares of Snapchat. So I have now 2 shares of Snap. I'm like a baby owner of Snapchat, basically. Not really like that, but kind of like that. So I paid that. If you look up how much Snapchat is worth right now, literally, you could just go like this, Snap stock price. As of 4 p.m. Eastern, so a couple hours ago, it was worth $55.26. So if I was to sell it today, right? If I was to sell it like right now, I would make 55 times 2, $110. I would get $110 back. If I did like the 110, if I did 110 minus the 22 I put in, that means I made about $88 profit, right? Roughly. $88 profit is how much I've made over the last year. That's a huge profit, right? I mean, it's huge in terms of like percentages. That's not actually that much money. But let's say I had put like $11,000, right? I had put $11,000 in, and now I had $110,000, right? That would be a huge amount of money that I just turned around, right? And so that's why people get really worried about the stock market, is because they have lots and lots of money there. Because here's the problem: it's worth $55 today, right? But just because it's worth $55 today doesn't mean it's going to be worth something else. If I had sold it a month ago, each of them was worth $73. I could have had much more money if I had sold it a month ago when Snapchat was doing really well, right? If I hold on to it and it goes down, right? Eventually it might be worth only $5, and then I would take what's called a loss, right? So I paid $11. I only sold it for $5. That means I actually took a hit of $6. I lost $6 in that process. So there's something called day traders who try to like every day like buy a stock and sell a stock right away. So they like buy when it's low for that day and then sell when it's high for that day. And they do this in huge quantities so that they can like make more money. Does that make sense? Hopefully. So what Stephanie says here of like buying low and selling high, right? Like that's the idea of people who are trying to like beat the stock market, right? You want to buy things when they're cheap and sell them for expensive money. That's how you make money on the stock market, right? Mutual funds, this is like less risky, because what's basically happening, you're taking a group of stocks that all balance each other out. So if Snapchat has a good day and Twitter has a bad day, then they balance each other out. And like so and so forth. So there's like a little less risk because 1, there are more people doing that together, and 2, there are all these stocks together doing it. So that's where, if you ever heard from, I know you all didn't know Ms. Wall, but she always talked about like being a part of the S&P 500 or buying like an index fund. That's what these are. It's a group of stocks that sort of like mitigate the disaster. So like make a disaster better, or make a they kind of like balance everything so that you're not totally like going to have a really bad day if only one. If you put all of your money in one stock and then that stock tanks, you're going to lose everything. If you put some in this and some in this and some in this, it's called diversifying your portfolio, right? It means that you have different things in different places. So when one goes down, the others might go up, right? So that's the idea of stock. Questions about stock? Anything? Feel free to keep typing them. So we've talked about our savings, like low risk, low reward. We talked about stocks like medium or high risk, potentially higher reward. And now we're going to talk about stuff, which is our like most high risk things. Stephanie, take it away.
Okay, so just like Ms. Mack pointed out, these are your extremely high risk investment options. And the first one that we have is cryptocurrency, which is virtual currency. And you're putting your money into Bitcoin, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. I know a lot of people actually use Bitcoin and to like trade it and stuff. So yeah, that's like your virtual currency. The second one that we have is crop commodities, which I know a lot of you put that like as a question on your pre-quiz. So this is wheat, corn, cotton, literally like crop that you are going to sell in order to turn it into a profit. And the third one is property, which I'm sure a lot of you know what property is. You know, when you're buying a house, it can be land, kind of like going into the real estate aspect of things. And just like crop commodities, you're trying to turn it into a profit. So overall, the three of them are like, you know, you're buying this, you're making this, and in hopes of making profit out of it.
Yeah, so you might be wondering, like, how do I make profit out of it, right? Basically, same thing, buy low, sell high, right? So if I buy Bitcoin right now and I can sell it later to make more, like at a lower price that, or at a higher price, then I'm going to make money. Same for crop. The reason why this one is really risky is because, like, think about it like if you were a farmer, if you have a field of wheat and a tornado comes and takes out that field, right, then you no longer have any wheat to sell. And now you're out all that money and you don't have any crops, right? You have nothing, you have no way to make money. That's why this one's like literally based on the weather. Also that falls in here like oil or those types of things can fall into crop commodities. And then property, of course, like if you bought a house for, let's say, $200,000 like 30 years ago in Los Angeles, now it might be worth like close to $1 million, right? At least it's going to be worth $500,000 or $750,000. So buying property or a house can be really great over the long term, but you still want to be careful that like if you put renters in that house during that time, then maybe they like might mess up something in the house, or like you might have to keep track of a renter. You might have to get new renters. So that can also be like a liability if you're thinking about that. Yeah, storefront business. So if you buy a storefront, what I'm meaning here with storefront is like you buy the storefront, like the property, and then you have people come in and operate their small businesses out of that, right? So they're paying you rent. So basically you're getting money while you just basically letting them stay in your spot, right? So anyone who owns their own property is going to make more money because then they don't have to pay rent, but they do have to pay their mortgage. So it's like a balance, right? So yeah, but yes, you'll be making profit once you have your own business. You own your own place. Cool. Any questions about saving stocks or stuff? Lots of options here. Cool. All right, keep thinking. Steph, where can I start investing? Like, how can I get involved?
Okay, so highlighting once again, investing is a process. So just like I said in the beginning, don't expect to get rich overnight or even, like in a week and stuff. It's a journey, it fluctuates, there's risk. Um, so there are a few known apps that you can download to start investing. And it really just depends on which one you feel works best for you. Um, I know Robinhood is pretty like popular. A lot of people that I know use Robinhood. But there's also Ameritrade, Acorns, and E-Trade. Um, but no matter which one you pick, make sure that first of all it's legit. Don't start putting your money into things that aren't real. Because this is actual money that you're dealing with. It's not just like, oh, I can put $2 here and nothing's gonna happen to me. Um, so make sure you're talking to your parents and letting them know like, hey, this is the plan, what do you think? And just try to have somebody involved with you and like keep them in your circle of what's going on. And no matter how long you've been investing, there's always something new that you can learn. There's always things that are changing. The stock market's very unpredictable. I would say, like it'll have its high peaks, its low moments. So there's always something that you can learn, and it's a process that you're gonna end up learning as you go. So don't like close yourself into one specific thing. Really look at your options and see where you're gonna benefit from the most. Okay, please pay attention here. Disclaimer. So kind of touching on following along with the last slide, be mindful of who and where you're getting your information from. I know that right now a lot of influencers are like posting, they're just like promoting things on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, and most of the time, so for these influencers, social media is basically what they do for a living, right? So they're gonna tend to promote things, they're gonna put things out there for you, and most times they get something in return. So they're gonna put, download Robinhood and you should be investing in these stocks right now. Like, if you're not investing, what are you doing with your life? And they're really gonna try to persuade you and like pressure you into doing things. And really know that there's always a reason. There's always a reason behind the pressuring. They're not just gonna tell you like do it because um it's good for you, like they're going to continue to pressure you and really try to sell you on things and try to make it look realistic so that you basically fall into the trap. So with that being said, try to seek for a financial advisor because these are people that go to school for this. They know what they're doing, they researched it, they spend time on it and really understand the highs, the lows, the depths of it. And with the financial advisor, you're really going to get that like one-on-one advice because they're really going to look at you and like your history on basically money, um, and basically put you on the right path and on the like smartest path for your personal situation because everybody's financial situation is different. So maybe it doesn't benefit you to invest into Snapchat, but it'll benefit like your neighbor or something. So a financial advisor will really work with you one on one. And it's kind of like saying, I've seen all 17 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, and if I were to tell you, hey, I'm gonna operate on you because you just had a heart attack or something, like, are you really gonna let me just because I've watched 17 seasons of Grey's Anatomy? I don't think so. So don't just fall for Instagram promotions, TikTok promotions. You're probably going to get scammed. And even with research on Google, pay attention to what websites you're looking at because anybody can put something on the internet. Like it's really easy these days. Um, just pay attention to the websites, pay attention to who you're talking to, what you're getting your information from, and run it by other people. Um, at the end of the day, a financial advisor is your best option.
Absolutely, right? Like, I would, I'd say like one of the biggest traps of Instagram is like you see somebody like posing with their Lamborghini and you're like, oh, they must be wealthy, right? But like, no, they must not be wealthy, right? Like maybe they're just standing in front of a Lamborghini. They're just like, maybe they don't own it, maybe they rented it, maybe they like are standing in front of a picture and you don't know it, maybe they edited that photo, right? So be super careful about who you're trusting. Like that's not to say there's not good information on TikTok. Like I learn stuff on TikTok all the time, right? But I am careful to like once I learn it to be like, oh, okay, let me go check out the information. Let me check out the sources on that. And let me find like somebody to back them up, kind of thing. Just because anybody can say anybody on TikTok, on Insta, on whatever, right? Amazing. I love this last example. Like, dude, if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you are not touching me with the scalpel. Marley earlier today told me that she could do a whipple stitch because like she could like stitch me up because she had watched all the episodes of Grey's. And I was like, get out of here, Marley. You're crazy. So yeah, I know, Grace. Woo. Yeah, so definitely make sure that you talk to someone. If this is interesting to you, you can actually become a financial advisor. It's something that you can go to college for. You can learn all kinds of information about. You can go to business school, et cetera, et cetera. So great certified. Y'all are silly. Y'all are silly. All right, I'm happy to stay and answer whatever questions you have. I want to highlight what needs to be done just so we can like make sure this happens. You're gonna put your notes here. Whatever notes you took, you're gonna put them here. You're gonna fill in the kinds of investments that we talked about. There are 8 different kinds. You don't need to put in all of the information. Just put in the titles. You can put a little blurb if you want to. You're answering these questions here, right? Those 2 questions here and this survey here. I would love for us to like actually go ahead and do the survey right now. So let's go ahead and do the Google form. Google form is here. The last box is just for any questions that you still have. Okay, so last box is there. Shout out to some peeps already filled out my form: Roxana, Ale, Geraldine, Michelle, and Cheyenne. Appreciate you filling out the form already and also submitting on Canvas. Appreciate that. But this should be like low key, very easy. If you want to stay on the call until you're done with the form, I would highly recommend that. And I'll let you know that it came through on my end. If you really, really got a jet because it's 2:50, you are welcome to head out. Blanca, I see you with that perfect score. Thanks for submitting the quiz. Appreciate you. Otherwise, I will hang out here. If you have any questions, if you're still thinking about anything, do let us know and we will answer your question. If you've got to go, now is an okay time to go. If you want to stay for some accountability, I'll be here and I'll let you know when I see your quiz come through. Thanks, y'all. Thank you, Stephanie, as usual, for giving us all of that good information. Appreciate you. Getting some claps in the chat, in the emojis. I like it. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, friends. Antoine, I see yours coming through. Great job. Sada, I see yours coming through. Great job, team. Bye. Diana, I see yours coming through. Lillian, I got you. Thank you. Don't forget to go back to those other 2 PTs. So. Angelica, I got you. Thank you. Amy, I see yours. Thank you.
I have a question, Miss.
Yeah, what's up?
So for today's assignment, let me go back to it. Here it is. So for part 1, we were supposed to just put what we talked about. Well, we weren't supposed to copy the slides.
Yeah, you don't need to copy the slides. It's like Langdon's class, right? Like you don't have to write everything that he has on the slides. You want to build in whatever information. So it's just a link to, or it's just like you're typing out the things that you heard that we were talking about, right? So you can go back
I mean
and
the one below.
Oh, right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant, yeah, right here.
Okay.
Those.
Yeah, for these, you just have to put the titles. And if you want to put like a little blurb about them, you can, but you don't have to.
Oh, I had actually typed up like everything that was in it. So like, do I just leave that or should I like delete
Just
it?
leave it. No, leave it. No, it's good
Okay,
information.
because I didn't copy and paste. I actually typed it all out.
No,
All right,
you're fine.
that
You're
was my
fine.
question.
No
Thank you.
problem. Yeah, you're welcome. Amy. Yeah, Amy, because you asked and because you stayed, you can. Let me delete yours. Here we go. Amy, delete. Yes. Okay, Amy, you should be able to go back to that form again. You're welcome. Ashley, I got you. Ben, I got you too. Great job, team. Bye, Ashley M. Have a great day. Bye, Amy. Have a good day.